Howdy, all. Eck will be here in a minute, and we will discuss the latest news. Came down this morning. There will be no offer sheet with Seth Jones, Russ, Dan, because Seth Jones has signed a 6-year contract extension at $5.4 million per. A little more than Morgan Riley, a little less than Dougie Hamilton. Russ, your thoughts first.
It's a good signing. I mean, they had to do it. They didn't have a ton of money to spend. They spent it wisely. I really like it. I think people can now get off of Yarmo's back because I know some were getting on him at the draft, and I thought it was not the right thing to do. I thought that was the wrong thing to do, and I think this is good. The interesting thing is this also shows you that, and I did look at the list. You know, we always forget about these offer sheets, but only one of these offer sheets have ever come through, and that's the Penner one. And you know what? At the end of the day, I can't envision an offer sheet out there that nobody's going to match. So to me, it's just a waste of time.
Right. The only way, Dan, that a offer sheet is not matched if it's a team that's in cap jail like Minnesota. We talked about this yesterday. If somebody offer sheeted Matt Dumba and they have $4 million in cap space,
right,
and it was after the buyout window, Minnesota's screwed. They would have to take the draft picks.
Yeah, I feel like I think too is going after the high end guys for an offer sheet never seems to work. I feel like if you're going to go after them, it needs to be like the mid-tier guys that maybe you pay a little bit more to, or the team can't justify keeping. Maybe like you said, a Dumba, isn't JT Miller an RFA, someone like that? Although I think the Rangers would match it. But you know what I mean? If you offer, all of a sudden you offer him 5.8 or 5.7, something like that, that would be alarming, and that would be a difficult thing for the Rangers to do. At the end of the day, I think they would. But those are the guys I think you need to offer sheet, the mid-tier guys. The stars are always going to get matched. They always are, and I think. For Columbus, I think this is a fair deal. It's a fair market deal for both the player and the team. This is great, and I think he's going to grow into this deal. And I think in a year or two, it's going to be a steal.
Well, it's funny because I think it was Elliot Friedman that said that after the signing that you wouldn't be surprised if you see a buyout with Columbus at some point before tomorrow, because tomorrow's the last day of buyouts. I looked over the Columbus roster. And you get no cap relief if you buy out David Clarkson, so that's a non-starter. The one I'm thinking, Russ, is Fedor Tutin. 2 more years at $4.5 million. He's got a no-move clause, which means they would have to protect him under the convention. So I have a feeling they may buy out Fedor Tutin if they buy out anybody.
I don't think they can afford to buy out Fedor Tutin. I think they still need him. I think he's still a good defenseman. He is just not your NHL sexy defenseman because he has no offense in his game.
Right.
But Fedor Tutin has held up very well. I remember when he was drafted, and I covered his rookie camp with the Rangers, and he held up really well. And now he's an older guy. I don't think I'd rush him out of there because you're going to save $3 million or something, but then what are you replacing him with?
Right. I mean, wouldn't you think like maybe just trading Scott Hartnell would make more sense?
Yes.
They're talking about that too, but I mean, I'm just going based on the report, and I mean, Tutin is 2 more years at 4.5. I mean, they have to protect Jack Johnson unless they want to expose him to the expansion draft.
I think he might get exposed.
Well, I mean, okay, Seth Jones has to be protected. So does Ryan Murray. They would be exempt on Werenski, so they would lose one of Tutin, Johnson, or Savard.
I think they'd be fine with losing any one of those.
Well, they may like Savard because they signed him to the long-term extension. So if they want to protect
doesn't mean things haven't changed now that they have Seth Jones. I mean, again, that's the whole thing. That was pre-Seth Jones, Mike, right?
And they thought he was going to grow into that deal, and he struggled last year.
Yes.
Yeah, he did.
2 buyouts that were announced. One was Eric Nystrom from Nashville. I believe he had 1 year left. The other was Mason Raymond, 1 year left with Calgary. Russ, it's funny because Mason Raymond came on as a tryout contract with the Leafs a few years back, had a really good year, took advantage of it, signed a 3-year deal with Calgary with his, I believe he's from the Calgary area, 3 years, over $3 million per. It never worked out. But that's the danger. We were talking about Lee Stempniak yesterday. That's the danger of signing a guy off 1 good year after a number of so-so years. You give him the big money again, and then he becomes a liability.
Yeah, he's got speed, and once in a while he puts the puck in the net. It's just not enough, and he doesn't play any defense. So at the end of the day, when he was sort of where was he, Vancouver originally? I remember, he had those good moments because he was playing with the right guys, but it seemed to go downhill, like you said, after Toronto, and so I don't know who's going to take him. Maybe someone will sign him on a one-year deal, but that does smell like a Stempniak kind of thing. If you sign him to 3 years, that's what you could expect.
Dan, I mean, we're waiting for Eck to come back here. We know that Opozo is probably gone from the Islanders. I mean, I haven't heard one inkling of any.
No, he's definitely gone, especially since we're hearing that he might want as much as $8 million a year. He's definitely gone.
And yeah, I mean, see, that's the thing that's really, I mean, and it's not surprising because every year we come up to free agency and the prices are ridiculous. And I talked to you earlier about Matt Martin. There's some rumor out there about Matt Martin getting interest from 6 or 7 teams. And I can get that. He's a good role player, but a fourth line guy. He can penalty kill. He's led the NHL in hits. At a certain point, all that's good, but at a certain point, the cost becomes too much. And
right.
The reported offer, or the reported demand is $3 million a year for Matt Martin. I mean,
look, he's a great guy, a great person, one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. He is a very good fourth line player. Yes, he leads the league in hits. I don't think that's as big of a deal as other people do. I'd rather have the puck. If the Penguins have shown you anything, I'd rather have the puck and play with the puck than chase the game. But with that being said, what he does well. He can drop the gloves at need be. Doesn't like he used to, but he has some talent. He can pop in like 10 goals. But you cannot pay a fourth line player who's a winger and doesn't kill penalties. You can't pay him that much money.
Didn't Brian Boyle get like 3 years, $6 million? Like I could see that kind of deal.
I know that was similar to what I know the Islanders were around too.
Well, being a long-time observer of the Islanders, do you agree with the assertion that one NHL scout has that Matt Martin is capable of playing more than a fourth-line role? Do you think he could be a third-line guy?
Look, I've watched pretty much every game he's played since he's come to Bridgeport, and he has some ability, but I think he overachieved a little last year, scoring 10 goals. I think that's about what he is. He's about 8 to 10 goals, about 20 points, and there's nothing wrong with that. No. But when you're making $3 to $4 million a year, there is something wrong with that.
I would almost rather, if you're a team looking for a character guy on the fourth line, I would almost rather take a roll of the dice at a Dale Weiss for about $1.5 million.
That's one of the guys I thought the Islanders could replace him with, and maybe with the Nystrom and their family connection, that's something that could work as well. But I mean, look, I once again, I love Matt Martin. He's one of the great ambassadors of this game. What he does for the Wounded Warrior Foundation, what he does for numerous charities, like that cannot be discounted. He's great in the locker room, but at the end of the day, if you look at that fourth line, Clutterbuck can score 15 goals and kill penalties. Cizikas can get around 30-something points and kill penalties. I understand the value there. You can't pay because you like a guy.
Yeah,
I keep hearing it more about New Jersey with Matt Martin, to be honest, and I think
that's a good fit because he's in the New York area. That's where his base is.
Continue on this charity because the charities are very important to him as well. So I think that there's a team that could use him for sure.
But there are a lot of those character type guys available right now.
Well, yeah.
A guy like Brandon Prust who didn't, I don't know if he's done. I don't know if he's over with. But
I don't think anybody should take Brandon Prust. I think.
Well, I mean, do you think it's not even worth a tryout situation where you give him
you might get a tryout. That's it.
Okay.
There'll be a lot of tryouts. If I'm Matt Martin, I would sign the first contract that's offered me, to be honest, from any team, because right now, and that's nothing down on him at all. It's just that there's such a surplus of players like that out there.
Yeah.
And there's not going to be a whole lot of space. Like as Kevin used the term, and I like it, that some players are going to get Cody Franzen.
Mm-hmm. Right. I think that's a great analogy.
It's the reality of it right now. Like there's a lot of players like that, and you have to if you're a third or fourth liner right now, and anybody's offering you $2 million, just take it. I mean, honestly.
If I get offered $2 million, I'm leaving the show. I'm just letting you know.
You should, and you're a really nice guy.
Myself included, yes.
You guys are all nice guys, so they could all.
Yeah, I'm holding out for 3. Yeah.
I would come back and see if you would match. I would definitely
match.
See if
Give me
you
a chance to match.
Because I'm happy you're here, but
Excellent. All right, that's awesome.
My loyalty has its price.
I mean, granted, there is a certain podcast on a certain website that I pitched to them, and they just happened to steal and not include me in. But yeah, hey,
Hello, Hockey World. It's Thursday, June 28th, 2016.
No.
I thought I was the one drinking in New Orleans all weekend.
29th. Thank you. That's good. Okay, I need the bell anyway. Here you go. Hello, Hockey World. It's Thursday.
No.
It's Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Sorry, what the hell's wrong with me?
One of those days.
Sorry, I have been on the phone all day, and I was up. I slept about 2 hours last night. So here we go. All right.
It's the 29th.
Thanks.
I like the shirt, by the way.
Thanks very much. Yes.
Less is more. Less is more.
I appreciate that. What? Shut up.
I'm just saying, less is more.
Oh God.
What the hell?
That's good. Oh, it looks good. That's a good shirt for TV.
It is a good.
All right. Thanks.
You don't need stuff from the Guy Fieri collection.
I see what you're saying. I don't know where to go with that. All right. I'm just going to start.
Okay.
That is out of bounds. I'm just kidding.
Hello, Hockey World. It's Wednesday. It is Wednesday. It's June 29th, 2016.
I'm Michael Agello.
I'm Dan Petru.
I'm Russ Cohen from Sportsology.
And I am Eklund, and you're watching the HockeyBuzzCast on HockeyBuzz.com. This is the podcast that comes every Monday through Friday at this time. And man, oh man, oh man, so much to talk about today. It's just picking up like crazy. Sleep is for the week this time of year, and I proved that last night with really hardly any sleep at all. But one thing, I wrote a bunch of things that we can talk about today. We have had a signing already. You guys, I might have mentioned while I was away, Seth Jones, and talked about that. I don't know if you guys did or not.
We did.
But that was the pre-show, so we'll just bring it up again. I'll bring up my signing. I think this is a really good signing, and I think that they had to do this. Obviously, they had no choice here. They gave up Ryan Johansson. They had to sign Seth Jones as soon as possible. And I think that the offer sheet thing was actually a real fear that they had. I do. I think that this is it's an interesting situation here going on with Trouba and Seth Jones, where we don't think they're good at offer sheets, but the concept of an offer sheet actually I think is playing into both of these players a little bit. And I think that played into Seth Jones. I really do. I honestly do. I have reason to believe that, which I can't get into, but I have reason to believe that they were worried about that, legitimately.
But as one of us pointed out before, I mean, there hasn't been many successes in terms of an offer sheet getting the team.
No, I mean, and that's historically you're right, but that
right. What the hell's the point?
Driving the price up. That's it.
Yeah, that's all it does.
No, but historically, yes, you're right. But there also are issues right now with certain teams and who just don't want to have to match an offer sheet. You know, like having to match an offer sheet. Would they say they're going to match any offer sheet? That's the second team says that. You know, they use that as a tool to try to get people not to sign somebody to an offer sheet. But that also is a fear.
Yeah.
Because if they actually have to match that offer sheet, like Nashville did with Shea Weber, it's a scary situation.
But Winnipeg has a ton of cap room, so there's nothing. If
they're not a cap team though.
I know they're not a cap team, but
for now, they have cap room for now.
Right. And but the thing is,
like, you know, if you want to be honest, for this situation, and I guess that you can't do anything about it now, but maybe not till the next CBA. I think if you're a team that signs an offer sheet and the player doesn't go to your team, you should lose a draft pick. You should lose like a 4th round pick because you did drive up the price in the market, and since you didn't sign them, you should lose a pick.
That's interesting.
Well, it's similar to
Can I just ask a question, though, about Jacob Trouba to the board? What am I missing with him? I think he's a nice player. I really do. I think he's a nice young defenseman, but he's not Chris Pronger. I think that some of the talk of 6 to 7 million is absurd. It's absurd. I don't think he's that good.
No, he's good. I think you need to see him more. What is he, 21? I mean, we're not even talking about what he's going to...
I think he's a nice player, but I think all this talk is on his potential and not what he actually is right now.
No, even what he actually is, I mean, I want to say in his top year he had 40 points, right? He didn't have that last year, I don't think, but...
He had like 20 last year.
But with a market so bereft of defensemen, Dan...
Yeah, supply and demand, you're right.
Right, exactly. I mean, you know, Shattenkirk with 1 year, Fowler with 2 years. If Trouba's out there in terms of an offer sheet or in a trade, I mean, these guys are
going to physical. You're paying for that.
Well, yeah, you are, but then the reality of it is also that, you know, Jacob Trouba is still a young defenseman. He does have people who believe that he could, you know...
28 points is his career high. Sorry, 29.
Yeah, but with a team that doesn't score a lot of goals, you know, and in a situation that is definitely, you know, not... I mean, Winnipeg is going to be a lot better in the years to come than they've been. They've got some good young players coming, and I think that what'll happen here is, a lot of people see Trouba's upside as, Drew Doughty-ish. That's really the comparison people draw a lot of the time. I don't know, and he definitely has good PR. I'll say that.
Below Drew Doughty. He's not Drew Doughty.
Yeah, but, I mean, another thing, and we will see this, and we're going to talk about Demers in a minute. He's a right-hand shot.
Yes.
Right. And that's
that gives you an extra $1 million, I guess.
Right. Exactly. It's strange.
I do have friends in Winnipeg who tell me that he is way overblown as far as their opinion goes. I mean, I will say that.
Here's the thing.
I agree, but we don't watch him all the time.
We don't think of Winnipeg as a great defensive team.
No,
yet for his career, he's plus 16.
Right.
Clearly doing something better than every other defenseman on that team.
No, I think he's good. I think he's good, and I think he has potential to be great. But I think that the talk that already getting paid this off your ELC is just I guess it's the world we live in now.
And put him on the LA Kings, and he were playing with Doughty, you'd be like, oh my God, this guy's unbelievable. But he doesn't have that luxury.
No, because Sutter would never let two offensive-minded defensemen leave the zone at the same time.
Too. That's the thing.
I know he could, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
honestly,
I would put a boot on his leg.
I wouldn't believe one word that comes out of Winnipeg right now about Jacob Trouba, because all they're interested in is driving down his value instead of popping it up.
Right.
No, these are people that I'm talking about, people who really aren't involved with Winnipeg at all and just have their opinion.
Everything's coming out of Boston, because Cheverdayoff doesn't talk.
Yeah, no, Cheveldayoff doesn't talk. And I'm not, all I'm saying, I'm not throwing rumors out about. No, I mean the Boston. Yeah, you're right about the offer sheet for sure. When I talk about Trouba's skills and ability, I'm talking about people in Winnipeg who watch.
And here's the thing: if Boston was really getting ready for an offer sheet, what is the point of them leaking it? If they leak it, that could get Winnipeg to sign Trouba tomorrow. Don't you want to?
The point of them leaking it is to force to force trade talks with Winnipeg. That's the point of them leaking it.
They'll just sign him instead. They don't need to trade him.
If depending on what Trouba wants, because if Trouba says, you know what, I'm not really going to stay here very long, I'm not going to, which means that he's not going to sign an offer sheet, because like we said before, when you sign an offer sheet, you're committing to the team you're signing an offer sheet with, or the team you're with forever.
Right. Well, the thing is, the threat of the offer sheet does work in some instances. Remember the Kessel situation. And I'm sure Toronto and I'm sure the organization in some ways regrets it. But they would have given up less in terms of draft picks if they had just signed Kessel to an offer sheet. And I do not think that Boston would have matched it back then. But
didn't we hear that Buffalo wanted to leave Winnipeg too, and then he didn't?
He did, right, and he didn't. You're right. So I mean, and I think their thinking here is that they can sway him to come to the the dark side as well. What they think. If they call it the dark side, they probably wouldn't. But I'm just saying.
I'll ask Cheverdayoff when he's on our show next time if
that's
what
they call it the dark side.
Negotiating, do they call that? Does he say, hey, please come over to the dark side? I'll find that out.
Please do. I want to know. Let's get into Demers. I've got 10 rumors today that I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to throw them at the panel really fast, and we can go through them pretty quickly. And as I wrote in my blog today, it really does look like Demers is going to sign in Edmonton. I know this for a fact right now. If there was like one definitive player signing in one definitive place, this is the one I would use. Because
unbelievable.
I haven't just heard it in Edmonton. I've heard it from other people who tell me he's signing in Edmonton in other cities. So that's always a sign that it's probably going to happen. And Demers, thoughts on Demers signing in Edmonton?
If it's for the cost that has been reported, which is in excess of $5 million, Chiarelli is insane. We would have to say that I'll give the caveat that if they go out now and they trade one of the guys, Hall or Nugent Hopkins or Eberle, for a defenseman, then it makes a little more sense, because then they're bolstering the blue line. But Jason Demers is not a top pairing guy. He's a second pairing guy at best. I know he's a right hand shot. He played for Todd McClellan in San Jose, so there's that familiarity there. But to give him that kind of money on a long-term deal is insane.
I'll say this. Look, we don't know the money right now, so does he make the team better? Yes.
Yes, he does.
Is he a huge upgrade? Yeah, probably on that team, yes. And so this is a situation where they are overpaying for a guy because they're so devoid of talent on the blue line.
I feel it's almost a little bit like Goligoski, where he's not a great player. He's a good player, not a great player, but he fills a need for an organization that desperately needs defense. Look, the Oilers can sign Demers, and they still need 3 or 4 defensemen.
Right.
So,
but they continue to go down the same road. They signed Sekera. They bring in Nikita Nikitin. They bring in
Nobody
Andrew
stays. That's the weird thing. All the defensemen that they've signed, with the exception of Clefbaum, nobody stays, right? Nobody stays from beyond that contract that they get.
No, Mark Fane, who was overpaid after one good year in New Jersey. They keep.
It's desperation. They're not developing any of their own.
Right.
No. Darnell Nurse, they're developing.
Nurse and Clefbaum, probably, right.
Right.
Yeah, that's something. But yeah, we'll see. This is the next thing.
Wait, is that?
No, I mean Nurse and
It would also
Clefbaum
help if they drafted defensemen too.
Nurse and Clefbaum are both pretty legitimate defensemen
Yes,
that they
they are.
developed. That's why I'm saying it's something.
But I mean, the way you said it, that's.
I mean, it's not what they need necessarily, but they've developed their third and fourth defense. They are not developing number one and number two defensemen yet.
Of all those guys, I don't think that Darnell Nurse is a fine prospect. I like him. I think he's going to be a good NHLer. I don't see him project as a top pairing defenseman. Neither do I see Oscar Clefbaum.
I think they could be a good second pairing.
Yeah, neither is Jason Demers. So, for the love of God, Mr. Peter Chiarelli, go out and get yourself a top-pairing defenseman. Give up one of those 5,000 forwards.
But he may be trying to. Wait, we got to give him the benefit of the doubt here. He may be trying to do that, and he may not have any luck.
Well,
here's another question: who's trading a top-pairing defenseman?
That's what I mean. He may not be having any luck with that.
Yeah, I think Shattenkirk's a top-pairing defenseman. I think they could get Shattenkirk.
But then he walks in a year.
Right.
Well,
yeah, maybe. Depending on, you get him there, you have a chance to actually keep him. That's possible.
Yeah, but you're giving up. Like now, you're telling Peter Chiarelli, hey, give up Eberle or Yakupov or maybe even Taylor Hall for a Shattenkirk package, and then if you lose them, how's that going to look?
Yeah, it looks terrible. You have to have a guy that has some turn.
Right. You have to talk to his agent beforehand, get permission from the Blues, and see if he's amenable to signing a long-term deal. If he's not, then you move on. But there are other guys out there right now, like Fowler, like Brodin, maybe one or two other options, who could be top-pairing guys on that team.
You know what? They'd be smarter to get Hamonic and overpay with that player, because at least they could slide him into the number 2 role there, and he would do very well as the number 2 there, would take pressure off a Nurse.
Yes.
And then with Demers, they would have something.
I would buy that. That would be the way to go, I think. A question from the chat room comes from, I guess his name is Lee Taft. Sorry, man, my eyes are bad. Why won't the Justin Falk to Edmonton rumors die? That's the question, and I haven't heard too many of them, to be honest.
Justin Falk spelled F-A-L-K. I think he would go to Edmonton. He's a UFA.
Right.
No, I mean, I would be shocked if
why would Carolina want to trade him?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I haven't heard much of them, honestly. I mean,
if he's available, I'd kick the tires. What do you want?
Yeah, he's a top line defenseman. They have a couple of them in Carolina. I've heard Carolina's going to pretty much just go with their young players this year and not do much beyond.
They should. They got some good young ones.
They're not even trading Ryan Murphy, because now with the way the NHL's changed, they probably want to see, hey, if we change our philosophy, let's see what happens with Murphy in there. And so you're right. I don't think they're going to trade any of those guys.
Justin Falk's under contract for another 4 years at $4.8 million. That's an absolute bargain for a guy who's an all-star. So Ron Francis would have to have a frontal lobotomy to make that trade.
Right.
He's the kind of guy he's an exciting player. The way he can run a power play, that shot, I can't wait to see him for Team USA in the World Cup. Oh,
I mean, him and Hanifin, why would you break that up? You've got that for at least 4 more years.
Exactly.
Right. No, that's great move. A surprising number of teams are saying they're going to stay put. This is my second thing today.
The team has actually come out and said they're going to stay put?
Yeah, to me they have. I mean, they're saying that we really have no money, or we don't really aren't interested in the UFAs. We might we might actually trade for some players, but I would say I'm up to about 6 teams now.
Wow. I hope the Islanders isn't one of them, because
not one of them. No, definitely not.
I'm in Long Island, and it will just catch fire.
We need to know who are the 6.
I can't say yet, but
Come on,
I did just give you a hint on one of them. I just gave you a hint on one of them a second ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did just talk about one of them a second ago. But yeah, there are a bunch of them now that are, and we'll talk about it more on July 1st, I guess. We'll talk about it then.
Well, then
5 hours.
If it's Buffalo,
Right.
it means that big fish that Tim Murray was talking about is some carp in Lake Erie.
It's not Buffalo. No. No, I mean, the teams you're hearing, these are teams you haven't really heard much about in the rumor mill, and there's a reason, because when you talk to them, and I went to a bunch of them and said, why are you, not why am I not hearing more about you? And some of them are just saying basically, that's it. They're staying where they are. They're not interested in the UFAs. And along those lines, it sounds like we're going to see some players signing back with their teams that weren't expected to sign back with their teams. That's another thing I've picked up on the last couple of days.
Which happened last year, last minute, right?
Right. It happens. Like, and some people have told me that they think Backes could end up signing back in St. Louis.
I think he will. I agree with that.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense for him not to. Now that they've saved some money with Bishop, they have other. If they can move, it's not a lot, but if they move Shattenkirk, then I think there was no reason for them not to bring Backes and Brouwer back.
One thing you're forgetting about Backes, he's got his dog adoption business there. He and his wife work on it. He's got plenty of money. He's not a guy that's about the money. He might come back and sign a one-year deal with a one-year option or just a one-year deal to try and win the cup there. He's that kind of guy.
I'm not saying that he's opposed to re-signing in St. Louis, but I can't see him just surrendering and taking a one-year contract. If they offer him a 2 or 3 year deal, fine. If they offer him a 1 year deal and other teams are offering 3 or 4, forget it.
So that's a big if there.
There'll be a lot of happy dogs in St. Louis at his animal shelter.
And I can tell you this, that his house, I know somebody who lives in his neighborhood, and his house is up for sale. He is selling his house, which usually is a sign, the real estate stuff. This is real, legitimate. That my friend told me, his house is up for sale. It was up for sale pretty much even before the playoffs were done. He said it was up for sale right away after the Blues were eliminated.
But it hasn't sold.
It hasn't sold, no. Not that I know of, at least.
There you go.
A few people that I talked to believe that we may not see the big players traded, Shattenkirk and Hopkins, until after the UFA period shakes out now, which is an oddity because usually that comes before, like we talked about yesterday. It would be an oddity for the UFAs to shake out and then there be less money, and yet then there be trades made.
Yes and no, because you can fill your need for free in terms of not giving up draft picks or prospects or players in free agency, and a lot of these trade options are Plan B options. I mean, I think that makes a bit of sense. There's
some sense to it, but remember that you don't that filling your needs for free is not a good thing in the NHL. You really want to move players out when you get players in. The problem with getting UFAs is that you don't lose any cap space, in the whole process of it. I've heard that many times. People would rather make a trade than pick up a UFA because then they at least can move some money out.
Here's the funny thing. Shattenkirk, I saw there were quotes, and I don't know if they were attributed to him directly or not, saying that he would love to be dealt, but at the end of the day, he doesn't control his destiny. And if I'm Doug Armstrong, I'm keeping him because if there's one injury, I need Kevin Shattenkirk to make it to the Stanley Cup. And now, if I trade him and there's an injury, now I've got to hope at the deadline I could get somebody. That's a tougher way to go.
Yeah, very tough way to go. Okay, this is an interesting one. Stamkos looks like it'll be decided relatively quickly, I've been told.
That would make our show very entertaining on Friday.
Make our show very entertaining. Yep. Because Stamkos is the giant domino in the room right now.
Right.
Among a couple teams that will have money or don't have money, but depending on where Stamkos goes.
Well, there's some theory that it may even happen before July 1st. I mean, because the possibility of the sign and trade and him being able to get the 8 years from a team that he signs with other than Tampa, it allows Tampa to get something. Yeah. It allows him to get the 8 years, and it allows the team to maybe trade an asset that they don't want, but Tampa might. So I think we have to keep an eye out the next couple days leading up to July 1st because it could happen before then.
We have 47 hours and 25 minutes to get it done if that's the case.
So if we see him leaving by boat or driving out of Tampa or going to Disney World or something like that, then that'll make us suspicious,
then
right?
We'll know a lot more, yeah.
Landing in Toronto.
It basically seems like, you're hearing as many as 15 teams, but honestly, the more research I do, the more there's really 4 teams involved with this. And the 4 teams there are 15 teams. There are people calling the 4 teams, and there's 3 main teams, and that being Detroit, Toronto, and Tampa. And then really the only other team that's really involved is the Islanders. And they are
just heard a show say, I won't even say who it is, say that they thought maybe Arizona was a possibility because Stamkos says he likes the weather there. Stamkos could buy a house in Scottsdale and play wherever the hell he wants. Weather is not going to be an issue as to where this guy plays hockey because he's playing indoors. Come on.
Right. He also lives in Tampa right now, so he's already been in good weather for his whole life, basically. Right. His professional life, at least, for sure.
Well, that leaves out Buffalo, and
it does leave out Buffalo as of now, and
which feeds into my theory that this has all been distraction and all been fog leading through the draft, all you heard in Buffalo was Stamkos. I think it was buzz created, and I also think that it raised the price.
Although you'll never be able to prove that that's not the case, Mike, because in hindsight, sure, it looks that way. I do believe Buffalo legitimately wanted to get in on Stamkos, and I think that they, from what I understand, they
maybe wanted to get in, but Dave may have gotten a message he doesn't want to go there.
Yeah, that's what I think may have happened. Now we don't know that for sure, and I can't say that for positive right now. But that's
and honestly, because I've looked at this situation over and over for a long time. To me, it comes down to Tampa Bay or Toronto. I don't see Detroit. Detroit is a franchise that is going in the wrong direction. I think they're declining in terms of where they are, and I think, and what I think is
Tampa for Detroit. He's going to consider them.
That's the thing. You cannot. Ken Holland, the whole Detroit organization, the ownership, brand new building.
Yeah.
That's a very, very respected organization, hockey. They've been in the playoffs for 28 years or whatever it is now. So
I'm not saying it's not a respectable organization. It is. They're a great organization. They have a long history. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about the team on the ice and where they're going. Their goaltending is questionable. I like Mrazek, but he had a bad year last year. Their defense, after losing Lidstrom, has been average at best.
But they may have UFA plans that we don't know about.
Yeah.
And Kenny Holland said today they have $18 to $20 million under the cap to be able to spend. Well, that's okay. Say you spend $11 to $12 million on that in Stamkos. You're not going to fix that defense with $6 million.
Well, here's the thing: they might get someone like Louis Eriksson helps to fix the defense from the forward angle because he's great defensively and he's great on the penalty kill.
That's a great point, Russ.
I wouldn't count
Troy Brouwer. Troy Brouwer could go there too. I mean, there's a couple players that could really.
Yeah, there's other ways. The Penguins showed, look, you can have some average players back there if you always have the puck. If you possess the puck and make people chase, you can get away with it.
I just look at it and I think Tampa is their team right now.
I agree.
They can win the Stanley Cup in the next few years. To leave them for Detroit doesn't make any sense. To leave them for Toronto, where I think he'd be.
How does Detroit make 0 sense? It makes some sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
But Toronto makes sense, but Detroit doesn't.
Toronto makes sense because he can be the epicenter of everything in Toronto.
Yeah, doesn't want to be that though.
Fancy new building. Toronto's building is.
Want to be that. He may want to be that.
It depends on who you talk to, but
Toronto's got an old building. Detroit's got a brand new building. Maybe he likes a new
crap about the building. Jeez.
Just you got to take
players
White
do.
Sox.
I mean, honestly, I really have to disagree. Their players do care about buildings and stuff like that. I mean, they really do. There is something. I mean, I'm not going to say it's going to change him from signing there, but it's another thing. It's another.
No, it is a factor. Ask Dan about the Islanders training facility. How many players it kept away over the years?
Oh yeah, it was terrible. Now they play in a really good facility in Brooklyn, and their training facility in Twin Rinks where they moved to. It's awesome. You've been there. It's awesome.
I've been there. It's awesome.
Yeah,
they're actually having their rookie camp there this week. That's how great it is.
But there are issues too with where they play and how that they're working on that too. But the Islanders have had issues. I know players who haven't been thrilled about the fact that they have to go out a day.
All right.
Skate. That's for sure. I've had players tell me this before.
I would love to talk to those players because I never heard one Ranger complain from going from Westchester to New York City. I've never heard one Ranger player complain that. And you cannot say that on Long Island. I work in 3 different states in a week, okay?
Yeah,
After I'm done with this show, I'm going to go sit in the Cross Bronx, okay? So I don't want to hear I want to know who told you that because I want to say, I don't want to hear these millionaires can't ride a train 40 times a year.
It's probably someone 6'4", 215 pounds.
I'm 6'3", 215. I know what it's like flying coach. It sucks, okay?
I will tell you later.
All I have to say
ever say to someone who lives in this area, "Oh, I don't want to ride a train." Oh.
All I have to say is the facilities in Toronto are very good. So
that's a funny point. Back in the day, a lot of the Rangers did take the subway and the trains to get out to Long Beach where they used to practice. Nick Fotiu used to ride the train. He used to keep like a metal pipe with him because it wasn't New York wasn't that safe.
It's like most teams do not train in the city they play in.
Right.
No, that's for sure. Most players live near where they train. That's usually what happens. Usually near the training facility, that's where they live.
Yes.
Right. If you live near Eisenhower Park, you're looking at about a 35-40 minute train ride.
Right.
Can I say all these names in New York? It's really funny. Like not being able to sleep last night, which is a wonderful feeling when you have to sleep. But finally, having a chance, like no one's calling anymore. But not being able to sleep, I put on the Ken Burns documentary on New York, which is just awesome. I mean, you guys, if you get a chance to watch it on Amazon or Netflix,
yeah, I watched it on Netflix.
it is amazing. I mean, I grew up hating New York, but by the end of this thing, I was like, New York. I was all fired up. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah, the only thing about Burns is I found errors in his baseball one, so I've been a little jaded
I'm sure
with
there are
Burns
errors
ever
in this
since.
one too. But it's really, I mean, I never knew the history of New York, and it's just how it starts out. It's really fascinating. It's just.
Okay. I'll check it out. I have an interest for sure.
Where Philly and Boston were people settled that for religious reasons for the most part. New York was settled to make money. That's why New York was settled. The Dutch just wanted to make money. That's why they came there. So like you had the Puritans in Boston, the Puritans in Philly, the Quakers in Philly. But New York was the Dutch just came there and they just established a trading post, and that's all they wanted to do was make money. It's really interesting how that has kind of affected New York through the entirety of its history. It's really fascinating. New
York City, not New York State.
New York City. I'm just talking about New York City.
Yeah, I'm in New York State, and believe me, I'm not making money.
You're in Western.
You're in Canada.
Yeah, Western New York doesn't count, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, once the Stamkos floodgates do open, the next two players that we have to look to are probably, it seems like, at least from my research so far, are Eriksson and Lucic, who are the two big names that could end up going to places that don't get Stamkos.
Right. I've heard Lucic to Detroit, and that makes a deal of sense because they're not exactly a physically imposing club, and if they could get a guy like him playing on the wing with somebody like Larkin or Nyquist, that might be something very interesting.
I've heard the Islanders are heavily into both of these players, and that both are very, very possible.
My question on Lucic is for a while we've heard he's not interested in playing in the East Coast. Is that changing?
I've heard that's not definitive at all. Like because
he would Tavares wouldn't get hit anymore if he played there.
Right. Somebody said today that the best place. I was talking to somebody on the phone, and they really got me thinking about it. And it's not a rumor, but it's just the best place for Lucic to sign would be Montreal. That would be pretty incredible.
Oh God!
Wouldn't that be incredible?
Be interesting.
That would be something. I mean, because
Shaw, I don't think they would get another guy.
But then if you had Shaw and Lucic, you'd be a tough team to play against in the playoffs.
And Gallagher, jeez.
And Gallagher, right?
God, I forgot about Shaw and Gallagher together. That's gonna be awesome.
Like the Hanson brothers at that point. I don't know if you want that.
Yep. So, but the Islanders are very, very worried about keeping John Tavares happy. Okay.
Sure.
And they should be. So losing Okposo is not a good start. So they are going to get a winger for him. They're going to find a way to get somebody for him to play with, whether it's Stamkos, which I know is not necessarily a winger, but whether it's Stamkos, Eriksson, Lucic, they're going to get somebody to play with John Tavares.
Jordan Eberle.
Right.
That would work too.
I'll say this too. I think even though we haven't heard it, Eriksson would make a lot of sense for the Rangers if they were able to shed some salary. He's the kind of player they need because he's a two-way guy. They're lacking two-way forwards. They do need wingers on that team. They've now too many centers since they've converted guys into center.
Yep.
He would make a lot of sense for them, and I think they might be able to afford him in like nothing else. Like that would be it.
Yeah, that would be it. I've heard Thomas Vanek with the Rangers.
Yeah, that would be horrible.
I do agree. It does sound like a bad Rangers move, though, doesn't it? It fits into.
Well, it's one of those things where if he would sign a one-year deal for about $1 to $2 million, that's incentive laced. I think teams would. Yeah, I think a team like you could take a chance on him. You could take a flyer, but he can't be your plan A. He's got to be like plan B or F or
he
G
scored
or
18
H.
goals. I was surprised to see he scored 18 goals last year. But if I remember right, he scored those 18 goals in like a 6-week period. Like I think he was really hot for a while in the middle of the season, and then just fell off the map at the beginning and the end.
Yeah, I mean, Vanek would make sense for a team like the Islanders if you just have him park in front of the net and let Tavares get him the puck. Because
if they signed one of Lucic or Eriksson or someone like that, and they signed Vanek for a real cheap deal, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
I really don't want him back, but if you put him with Eriksson and Tavares, I think that could be a good line.
It could be. If you put Vanek with the Rangers, I think it's the same as when they had Valerie Kamensky. I think it's the same thing.
Wow.
That's an interesting call there. As we know, Vanek has to play with skilled players. If you don't put Vanek with skilled players, you're wasting your time.
Center. He needs a skilled center.
Yeah, you're wasting your time.
He needs a skilled center.
You can't trade Stepan if you're going to sign Vanek.
Yeah.
That's a good point, Russ.
The guy you would have to trade is Nash, and I haven't heard.
Well, yeah, it's easy to trade Rick Nash, right? With 7.9 for 2 more years, that's easy.
I think teams. I think someone would take him, especially if they ate a little.
We think that, but nobody's taken him yet. You don't think they were moving him at the draft?
I would. I know the Islanders and Rangers don't trade, but I would take Rick Nash.
Honestly,
next to Tavares.
I think Rick Nash would be a good fit for Buffalo because he would come in, he would play with either Eichel or O'Reilly. It's not a long-term commitment. It's 7.8 or 7.9, whatever it is. And when they strike out on Stamkos, they'll have the availability of the funds. So why not?
The kind of players that have always played for the Islanders or Rangers are like the Rich Pilons type. Sorry, Rich, I know we're Facebook friends, but you know what I mean? Like those other guys never even think about it.
Oh, LaFontaine did.
Yeah, LaFontaine was because he was on his last legs and no one wanted to touch him, and the Rangers gave him a chance. That was the only reason for LaFontaine.
Okay.
Because of the concussion.
Yeah. The Flyers would like to get in on Okposo, I was told, but the only way they can do this is, of course, if they can trade Mark Streit. So that's the deal there. If they can move,
they're not in on Okposo.
It's not impossible to trade Mark Streit. I was surprised by I myself, if I'm a team out there, it would not trade for Mark Streit. But I was surprised to hear that there are teams that actually would trade for Mark Streit.
Well, you know what's funny about the Flyers? They're always a team now that is like, to use a Long Island analogy, they're shopping on the Miracle Mile, but they have like a prepaid debit card.
I think that went above everybody's head who's not from that area. Explain. Explain. The Miracle Mile is in New York City.
It's in Syosset. It's like a great shopping area. It's everybody talks about Roosevelt Field, but this is like the really hidden one for the very rich.
I thought you were talking about the Miracle Mile in Chicago. That's the first thing I was thinking of.
Syosset.
Well, here's a factor. Here's a factor with Streit and with a number of other players, including Jonathan Bernier, who I wrote about yesterday. Streit has a $2 million signing bonus on his contract. So does Bernier. After July 1st, when teams pay that, the cap hit's the same, but the money being paid out is a lot different.
Exactly.
So Streit is $5 1/4. His money being paid out to another team would be $3 1/4. They might be willing at that point to trade for a guy like that.
I think the thing with Streit too, while he's still, obviously he's on his last legs. He is definitely up there in age. He's not great in his own end. He can still skate. He can still skate. He can still work a power play. I think he could still help a team.
I do too.
Maybe not a team trying to make the cup, but he could definitely help a team that maybe needs to get to the cap floor.
Could he help Edmonton? That was the rumor.
I think he could help Edmonton.
That's the rumor I heard yesterday, and I think he could help Edmonton. I kind of do agree with that. Worst idea for the Oilers. Because you're bringing in a guy. He is also a very good leader. I'll say that about Mark Streit.
Yes,
He's a very good leader.
I don't think anybody wants Bernier for free. I'll be honest. I don't think so because he's too small now for this league. I think that is the biggest problem for Jonathan Bernier is there's no goalies his height anymore.
Well, I mean he's 6 foot. I mean he's not a midget.
6 foot.
He's not a midget. But Russ. Right now
he's 6 foot. If I'm 6 foot.
Right now you're talking about teams taking him in terms of a backup situation. Pierre LeBrun reported Florida as a possibility.
There are people who believe in Bernier still. I will say that. I mean I do agree.
I still think Calgary because they need a goaltender because they traded for Brian Elliott. Another possibility.
Calgary has Ortio, don't they?
No, they didn't qualify for UFA. The other possibility is Anaheim. Randy Carlyle liked Jonathan Bernier in Toronto. They don't have a backup since they traded Anderson, and Khudobin's a UFA. So it might be a situation where the Leafs were just waiting to pay the bonus, and then a Bernier trade to Anaheim could happen.
Yes, it's possible.
So Martin might be joined in New Jersey by his teammate Kyle Okposo too. I've heard that as well. That's another team that the Devils are a fun team to look out for because, like I said before, there's a lot of teams that say they aren't going to do anything, but the Devils aren't one of them. The Devils are going to try to do things, and they're probably of all the teams that I said before, a lot of those teams are lesser teams. This is a team that's lesser, and the Devils are still trying to improve.
The Devils have to do something because they have nobody signed. They have I mean, if so many RFAs and UFAs, they have to be making some.
Well, I mean, look, Saka's going to come up, but Shiro knows him from USA Hockey, so that seems like a natural.
I wouldn't be surprised if Stepniak ends up back in New Jersey. I really wouldn't. I was talking to people yesterday. I mean,
I can see that too.
he played well there, but they could go. This could be kind of way they go.
Patrick Ilias could come back for another year.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I'm telling you. I mean, I mean, if Lou was there, Patrick Elias would be back for another year. Put it that way. But Lou's not.
Look.
Oh boy, yeah,
you got the Cylon. Unplug your mic, Dan. And
There's my mic.
Yeah. We got that. Dan's got the
Kind of like a heavy smoker who has one of those
evil
voice
mic. Sounds like you're allergic to radishes or something.
One of the aliens from Battlestar Galactica.
There are a lot of things out there at once at you. All right. Let's see. Yeah. So
How's that? Am I better?
Much better. Yep. So, and finally on my list of 10 rumors to think about today, Backus and the Montreal Canadiens.
Never happened.
Just
why?
0%. I'm going to give it negative 1.0%.
I wouldn't say that. Why do you say that?
Because I just don't see that as a fit. I don't understand. I don't know if he's a guy that necessarily even wants to play for a Canadian team. That's one thing, and that's quite a move for him to move from St. Louis to Montreal. Like, I don't know if he's really going to move that far. Now, he doesn't have to move there, right? He could just play there, but it just doesn't seem like a natural fit. Where is he going to play? What is he going to be, a second-line center for them?
Second-line center behind Plekanec, which would mean that Galchenyuk is playing on the wing still.
Yeah,
because Backus ain't a first-line center at this point in his career.
No. I just don't see the fit. Maybe it's me.
I would rather, if I was Montreal, I'd rather take a one-year stab at an Eric Staal than to sign a multi-year contract.
Yeah, I would do that too.
Yeah, I would say it's possible.
And from what is out there, it sounds like Eric Staal, he's amenable to signing a one-year contract. He's sort of worked up that his reputation has fallen so much, and he's really devoting himself. At least that's the line out there.
No, but with Eric Staal, there's something.
We always hear that cliche. We know it.
There's something very interesting happening with Eric Staal. I've talked to 3 teams that are really interested in him, and they all say the same thing. They all say, we know he can't score anymore. They said they know he's lost that part of his game, but they all say there's nobody better for our room than Eric Staal. Like, they all want to bring Eric Staal into their room.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's fair.
And I think that he's going to be trading on that for a little bit here. I think that's his MO right now. Is like, listen, if you're a team say you're a team like the Wild, or you're a team like Nashville, or whatever, bringing a guy like that into your situation doesn't kill you.
Trevor Linden when Linden's offense left him.
Right.
Nashville will be a good fit, second or third line center, take a little pressure off of him.
But you also have to factor in that. Okay, and I know he won a cup in 2006. But you also have to factor in that if he's going to drop in on a one-year deal, it's going to be to a team he thinks can win a Stanley Cup. And that's why
Nashville will be a good fit.
Unless he's got no good offers, that's the thing.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Anaheim, Chicago, L.A., those teams.
If they're offering, Mike, what if they don't want them?
They're offering, yeah. I mean,
You're
right.
more likely to get the teams like Minnesota than you are those teams.
Yeah.
Which are teams that are that could very well be a contender, could do what San Jose did last year. Like the teams.
Nashville made
the teams that Eck usually picks to win and generally don't, except for last year.
Hey, Nashville made a Game 7 of the second round. They were there.
I give up. Yeah. I'm just too tired to fight. Andrew Ladd.
Wait till Friday.
Oh God. Yeah. Stop it, Mike. Stop it.
Drums.
Look at me. All right, Andrew Ladd is another name I want to bring up. I've got things stuck to my arm. Got kneecaps stuck to my arm here. It's like that's the point I'm at. If I could turn this camera around right now, you see I'm living in my own filth.
All right, reel it in.
Thanks, Dan. All right, so Andrew Ladd. Let's talk Andrew Ladd for a second.
Mike, stop it. This isn't Police Academy.
A lot of teams interested in Andrew Ladd right now, and four of those teams brought up by Darren Dreger earlier, and I don't usually quote Darren Dreger on the show, but I will in this case because I kind of agree with 3 of these 4 are the Islanders, Predators, Lightning, and Canadiens. I do not see the Predators in on Andrew Ladd. Having talked to them, I don't think that they are, but actually the Predators are one of those teams I would go out of my way and say one of those 6 teams that will not do anything.
Well, the fact that the Florida Panthers are not involved that Dale Talon is not in control in Florida anymore, because if he was, I think they would be in on Andrew Ladd.
Yeah,
What's his worth now, though? He didn't have a great playoff, so I don't know what his worth is anymore.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, he and Dale Weiss both kind of got destroyed in Chicago. I mean, they were better before they went than when they went to Chicago. Dale Weiss, I think it was unfair because he really just wasn't given playing time. And Ladd was definitely given playing time. That's the difference with Andrew Ladd. They gave him time on the top six lines, so top six forwards as a top six forward on one of the top two lines. They gave him time there. But he didn't do much. You're right, and he really was slowing down in Winnipeg as well before that. So I do agree that his value could be iffy, but seems to have enough left, I think, for someone to take a flyer on him.
Right, but the term will be limited. I mean, I'm sure most NHL teams are looking at that and seeing the same thing that you're seeing, X. So maybe he gets a 2 or 3 year deal, but 4 or 5 is not going to happen.
I'd give him 3 for $5. I think he can still play.
Right.
I think he would be a perfect fit.
No.
I think he'd be a perfect fit for the Islanders because he could play. He could play with the Tavares.
I think he would give him some space too.
Yeah.
I've gotten to the bottom of the Shattenkirk for Dylan Larkin nonsense that we heard about because we talked about.
That wasn't real, was it?
No. 2 days ago we mentioned it because it was out there as a big time. Yesterday, Andy Strickland came out and said it was ridiculous. But then talking to somebody after the show, I found out that if you remember last year on UFA Day, I put out that rumor, and I forgot about it. And it actually was something that was offered last year on UFA Day. They tried to get Shattenkirk for. They tried to get Shattenkirk for Dylan. This is before Dylan Larkin. They didn't. They offered. They tried to get Dylan Larkin for Shattenkirk, and Detroit said no. But that was definitely made last year at this time.
Right, but that's before he exploded. Now
before he started. So that's why But that's how I sort of wanted to get to the bottom of why.
Dylan Larkin could get a top pairing defenseman. That's how much upside he has, and everything. You got him on the term.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade Dylan Larkin for Shattenkirk. I wouldn't trade Dylan Larkin for
No, but I'm saying like a really top-notch. Like if you went to Nashville and just name one of their better defensemen, Larkin could bring that.
Roman Yossi?
Yeah,
Roman Yossi.
Yeah, he could. Yeah, okay, I would have to think about that one.
I just got this text from a source as we're talking about Dylan Larkin, which is pretty funny, and somebody who doesn't quite agree with Mike, I get.
Those are the ones you should read.
I get 30 of those texts every show, but I'm going to bring this one up now. And that would be says that, by the way, one of Stamkos has been on the record as saying one of his favorite players in the NHL is Dylan Larkin. So for what it's worth, there's another reason that he might go there. And Stamkos came out, remember, I don't know if you remember this or not, but came out and said about Dylan Larkin that he thinks he might be better than I am already at his career.
I remember that.
Remember that?
He actually might be right.
He might be right.
Because Stamkos took a little while.
Yeah. He'll be a better goal scorer, but he'll be a better all-around player. That's possible.
He's an exceptional young player. There's no doubt.
Yeah, no, he is. He's a top player. I mean, he is.
And after his rookie year, he's possibly the best player on the Red Wings, which just says something about the rest of the Red Wings. But
they also said that about number 19 Steve Yzerman years ago, and that was okay. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world.
About McDavid.
Right. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. The Oilers, here's another rumor for you that was really interesting. The Oilers tried like hell to trade up to number 2 at the draft.
I heard that.
And I don't know if you guys heard this at the draft or not, but it was a rumor that was going around that day, and I wasn't really sure about it, but basically they had this vision of Line A with Connor McDavid, and they thought that was like their Gretzky Curry, and they were all set to make that happen. They really tried hard, and apparently they offered a hell of a lot to Winnipeg. This was a really hard. Cheveldaev was on the record. At least I heard him say this to some people. I don't know if it was on the record or not, but I'm going to say it was on the record because no one told me it wasn't. That he went out and said that the offer was so tempting it made him pause for quite a while about it, about whether or not because basically he would just been moving to number 4. He would have ended up getting a pretty good player at number 4, but also I'm thinking he might have also gotten like Nugent Hopkins or something like that. I think it was that's what I'm thinking. It was along those lines. So he could have had Puljujarvi and Nugent Hopkins.
So then maybe when that was going on, that's where Milano's name came up because maybe Jarmo got nervous that Dubois would be gone, and that would be his way of getting Dubois.
There was talk early on before the first round that there was a 3-way deal operating between Columbus and I think Calgary was one of the teams, and the a third team that was not identified. Now, if it's Edmonton, they're talking about moving up from 4 to 2. Okay, I mean then that makes a little bit of sense, but maybe that was the part where Edmonton is moving down a bit and getting themselves the defenseman that they ended up not taking, or at 4, and said they took Puljujärvi.
Here's the thing, okay? This is the part that I'm still trying to figure out from the Edmonton perspective. The players are great players, right? But they're not Crosbys or Malkins. And I guess that's what they're trying to put together, because clearly McDavid is one of those quality.
Right.
But anybody they would have gotten in this draft wouldn't necessarily be of Malkin quality. And so, I don't understand why you would even try and do that. It just doesn't make sense.
Well, I guess it depends on how highly you think of Patrick Laine. I mean, there are some people who really...
there's some people who...
I mean, there are people who are comparing him to Ovechkin,
That's what I was going to say, yes.
And whether or not I think that's fair...
I've heard Yager as well, too.
I mean, you would know better than anybody, Russ. I mean, you don't think...
Yes, that's true.
I think he'll be an excellent player, a really great player. Do I think he's Ovechkin or Yager? No.
Honestly, when Ovechkin was coming into the league, what were your thoughts on Ovechkin at the time?
Here's the thing. I had a limited knowledge of him other than he was this great player. I heard him out of Russia. His parents were Olympians. Mm-hmm. I even interviewed him during the Stanley Cup, which I'll never get a one-on-one interview with Alex Ovechkin again. Yeah. And I saw the way he was built, and I knew I had seen his shot, and I said, okay, this guy's got an exceptional shot. He's going to be a big-time goal scorer. I don't look at Laine and say he's going to be a big-time goal scorer. So Ovechkin's out as far as a comparison. I think Laine could be a big-time point guy, but what's big-time? I think 80 points would be his max. I don't think he's of a Malkin or...
I like his shot.
You don't think he's a 40-goal scorer, 50-goal scorer?
He could be.
I don't think he's a 50. Maybe 40, but I don't think so. 40's hard to come by.
Connor McDavid, though? I mean, playing with Connor McDavid, he's at least the 40-goal scorer.
Different because... Sorry, Mike. The only thing I'll say about McDavid is he's got an innate sense that I don't think even Laine has, and it's hard to quantify when you're on the ice.
I think Laine projects to be like Solani, not a Malkin or an Ovechkin, right. And that's nothing to sneeze at because we know how great Solani was. But
right.
if he has Solani's work ethic, we don't know that yet over time.
Exactly.
Right. That's true. Last but not least, Franz Nielsen. I am hearing still that he could sign back with the Islanders. That it's not.
Yeah, I think that's what's happening. I do.
Can I just say right now?
Yep.
If the reports are true, and he does sign a 6 or 7 year deal, you will see me throw up on air on Friday.
I don't think he's going to sign a 6 or 7 year deal. I think he's going to have to. Friday. Yeah, I think it's going to be 3 or 4 years. To be honest,
that's fine. I'm all for that.
I think it's going to be very, very, very much less than what he wants from this deal.
I don't know.
Get the bucket.
3 or 4 would be good. 6 or 7 would be awful. When I heard that, it's like Garth Snow doesn't do those deals.
Yeah,
we're going to have a Nielsen bucket for Friday sitting next to you.
Now, is that dependent on if say for we somehow I wake up and there's 2 Suns on Friday and the Islanders sign Stamkos. Obviously, Nielsen probably.
Everything changes, yeah. I mean, everything changes if whoever signs Stamkos, everything changes immediately. Right. But every team I've talked to, and I've talked to pretty much all of them now, that is in on Stamkos has like an A, B, and a C plan.
Well,
they all have the Stamkos plan, and they have the other plans.
I can tell you what B and the C plan with Toronto is, and that is to do nothing because.
No, that's not true.
I'm telling you right now, it's true.
Shanahan, they're not going to do nothing.
What I'm saying, Dan, is if they don't get Stamkos, I think that they're going to stay on.
Wait, define nothing, Mike. What do you mean,
Mike? I'm telling you. All right.
I don't think they're going after Backus. I don't think they're going after Stahl. I don't think they're going after Lucic. I don't think they're going after any of the major free agents.
Nothing means no free agents. So you're saying 0 free agents?
I mean, they
if they don't go after anybody, they're really doing a disservice. I mean, they have all this cap space. It's not like Stamkos is going to come to them next year. They have to do something. They have to start proving their team.
They don't have to do something. They don't have to do something.
But they're going to wait for
if they don't get Steve Stamkos, Mike we'll already start talking about John Tavares in 2 years on Friday.
No, because I don't think the situations are completely different, Dan. I don't think that Tavares.
So if they don't take Stamkos, they're just taking their ball and going home. We're not playing anymore.
No, it's not that. You're sticking with the. I mean, okay. Steven Stamkos is a one-off. He's the best player to come free in terms of free agents.
I'm not saying they're going to give $12 million to somebody else, but they could spend $7 million of that 12 on players.
I don't think that they're going to do that, Act, because
they want Nolan Patrick.
No, I think what they're going to do is they're going to concentrate on playing their young players. I mean, they're bringing in Stamkos if they do sign him to be the leader of that team. And I don't think that you cannot replace the production and the talent and the leadership of Stamkos with anybody else in free agency. I don't think they're going to do what they did in 2011 when they didn't sign Brad Richards, and they weren't that interested in Brad Richards, and they went out and signed Tim Connolly for 2 years. It was stupid.
But here's the thing. I'll play devil's advocate. I mean, you've got Matthews who's going to make the team. You have Nylander who's going to make the team, right. And you might get beat. And you might get beat. If you get those guys, does it not make sense to get a veteran to go in there who's good in the room? Because JVR is not a leader. He's a good player, but we know he's not a leader. Babcock may want a guy to help lead those kids.
They have veterans on the team.
Who?
Like who?
I mean, JVR, Komarov.
JVR, Komarov are not guys. They're not those guys.
No, they will become Edmonton if they're not careful. They have to.
Exactly. The Islanders made that mistake a few times. You have to have strong voices in the locker room. You absolutely do. But here's a question. Here's a question for you, Mike. If they don't get Stamkos and you say they are going to play the kids, then there's no excuse for Mitch Martin to go back to juniors.
Right. I mean, he may not. I think it's a 50-50 proposition, Dan. It's all based on whether they think he's physically ready to handle the NHL.
Here's the thing I think you're missing is that these players are not going to be that expensive to get. I
think Eric Stahl will be perfect there.
Right.
Stahl's
going to go on a one-year deal. Why wouldn't you?
Stahl's going to go on a one-year
I got to run, guys. I'm getting a call in right now, but so we're going to wrap this up. But there's more to talk about this. And also, you can see Mike tonight, actually. Mike, you're doing this puck talk thing tonight, correct?
That's correct. At the
Drake. Tell people about it. Are tickets available for it still, or?
Tickets available at the Drake Hotel in Toronto. Chris Johnson from Sportsnet, James Myrtle, Andy Petrillo, Mike Zeisberger, Kevin McGran, Steve Dangle, and a number of other people.
There you go.
Yours truly.
Worth watching, guys. Go check it out for sure. Remember, without the buzz, it is just hockey. We will talk to you tomorrow.